Hello and welcome to another video from Natasha Lee. This week we're doing some Sharpie nail art as I've been desperate to have a go of this and it is so effective and yet so simple. Stay tuned to find out how to produce these fabulous marble nails. As always, I'm going to begin by performing cuticle work and filing my nails before cleansing with 99% isopropyl alcohol. And there's a link in the top right corner if you want to know how I do this with my nails. Also, full links to all the products are in the video description down below. Then I'm going to go in with a nice even layer of my peel-off base coat. And I just use this because I like to be able to change my designs quite frequently without dehydrating my nails too much. Then I'm going to go straight in with my favourite white, and this is OPI's Alpine Snow, and we're going to apply this to our middle and ring finger. If you can, go really carefully on that first application, because it means if you do need to do a second coat, you can apply it really quickly without too many problems. When your first coat of white is dry on your middle and your ring finger, go in with your second coat and apply a nice even layer. If you do make any mistakes, don't worry, just take a brush dipped in nail polish remover or acetone and clean up any of those mistakes. And now we're going to take one of my favourite colours, which is Morgan Taylor's Shock Therapy, and we're going to apply this to our little, index finger and our thumb. Again, apply that first layer really nice and evenly so your second layer can go on super quickly. Once your first layer is dry, go back in on your thumb, index finger and ring finger and apply a nice even second coat and then allow it to dry. For the next stage with the Sharpie markers, I'm going to be creating some alcohol inks, and I'm using these tea light holders which are crystal and quite pretty. And using the larger tea light holder, I'm just adding some isopropyl alcohol, and that's rubbing alcohol or surgical spirit. And then on the smaller one, I'm just adding some of the ink to the actual base of the tea light holder, and we're just going to concentrate on one colour at a time. And what we are effectively doing here is actually making our own alcohol inks. So I want to start by making a really pale sort of colour wash for the base of the nail. So I'm taking a lot of the alcohol and adding it to the ink. Now it doesn't matter here that I'm mixing the two together because we're concentrating on doing one colour at a time. And you can see I'm just really watering down that Sharpie ink so it goes super pale. And once you're happy with your colour wash, just apply straight onto the nail. And at first I sort of started by dabbing but realised it was quite bold and I wanted it paler, so I just stroked the colour over both of my white nails to give me that very sort of pinky toned base to start with. Now I want to go in and start creating that sort of watercolour effect across the nails, so I'm taking some of the ink and I've made it a bit darker this time, and we're just going to go across in sort of diagonal lines. They don't have to be perfect. I did actually bring up an image of marble on my computer while I was doing this, just to work as a sort of guide and help me create the image. And just keep going across, creating these sort of lines and zigzags to meet up. And what we're actually doing is building up layers, like you would with a normal watercolour paint on some paper. We're going to start with the palest first here, and then start adding the detailing in. And you can just keep adding to this design until you're really happy. If you want to add any extra detail, you can either make the ink darker by using less alcohol, or lighter by using more. I noticed I didn't like it being too pale around the cuticle line, so I added just a little bit more ink. And when you dab, that's what creates these beautiful watermarked effects. As I often say with designs, there's no right or wrong way. It's whatever makes you happy and how you like the look of your design. So if you want to add some more sort of splodges, just keep going until you're satisfied with your look. When you want to change colours, just make sure you give your brush a really thorough clean on a pad soaked with isopropyl alcohol, and also clean out your glass dish or whatever you're using to make sure there's no colour transfer. Then I'm going straight in with my black Sharpie and just drawing this onto the base of that tea light holder again, and this time I want to create a very soft colour wash for the black. And so I'm adding lots and lots of alcohol to the bottom of the dish, as you can see it here. It's actually quite therapeutic watching it spread across. And once you feel you've got enough, just mix it all up. You can always add more alcohol if you want, and it does go this really deep purple colour which is gorgeous. And we're just going to go straight over where we did our pink lines and go over with this black colour wash. This is going to get deeper as we add more layers, so don't worry about it. But if you start with a paler colour wash first, it means you're less likely to make any huge mistakes. Now if you want to do this on gel polish, it's actually a little easier and you can apply your Sharpie directly to the nail. However, I found this method actually on YouTube by Nails by Gemma and loved it so much I wanted to do my own take on it. So once you're happy with your basic colour wash, we're going to go in with some more black Sharpie and start to add our detailing ready for our final look. And to do this, I'm adding a little less alcohol to the Sharpie ink and using a fine detail brush to just sort of go across the nail. And here I wanted to add a bit more of a colour wash to it, so I added just a bit more alcohol and I just keep going. If you dab rather than stroke the brush, then it creates that beautiful sort of blotted watercolour effect, which I love so much. I decided to follow where I'd applied the pink washes earlier and do the same with the black before we add the final detailing. And if you want to soften the look at all, just use your original brush with some isopropyl alcohol on it and just dab over the nail, and that will give you that beautiful sort of washed effect on it. If you leave some alcohol on the nail and then dab like this with the ink, it starts to really spread and bleed, and it's so pretty. It reminds me of silk painting. And then just go back to your fine detail brush with your black Sharpie mixed with the alcohol and start to do the final line details across the darker parts of the image. And this was such a relaxing and therapeutic design to do because you could just keep going with it and adding bits, and if you weren't too keen on them, add a bit of alcohol and soften them down. It's so easy. And it just looks so effective that the more layers you build up, the more convincing it is. And it ended up looking so perfect. It was almost like it was a nail wrap. So just to remember, when you're actually applying the inks, if you want to have a darker line or effect, then use less of the alcohol or rubbing alcohol and more of the Sharpie ink. And then if you want to have a really nice colour wash effect, then use more alcohol and less ink. Now you don't have to do this next step, but I just fancied adding that final bit of extra detail to it. And I took this lovely silver cord loophole from ESSIE, which is actually quite a watery silver, which was what I was after, and just follow over some of the darker areas of the black on the nail, and it's to make it look like there's almost veins of silver running through that beautiful marble. And to clean any Sharpie ink that's spread or bled onto the skin around the nails, just take your nice clean up brush again with some isopropyl alcohol and gently rub off any of that excess. And as you can see, it comes off so quickly and cleanly. It's really nice to clear up with this design. And once you've cleared up and your design is dry, it's time to apply your top coat. And I like the HK Girl Glisten and Glow top coat. I'm going to apply this very generously, and I do this to avoid any smearing, and also because my nails are rather long, so I don't want to have to dip the brush back in the bottle and get more out whilst I'm painting, ideally. So apply a nice even coat to the whole nail, and when you're happy, allow it to dry. Remember to apply it to all the other nails as well. And when you apply your top coat or polish, I always find it easiest to start in the centre and then go up each of the side walls nice and carefully. Now I know that I fiddle with my polish on my nail quite a bit, but that's because I want it to look really perfect. And our final step for picture perfect nails is to apply a generous slick of cuticle oil to the skin around the nails and then massage carefully in. Now do remember, you really need to be applying cuticle oil at least twice a day and definitely before bed to see the maximum benefits of it. And here is the finished look, and how effective are these nails. I actually can't believe that these have been done with Sharpies, and it's so much fun doing these nails. I love being able to mix medias from different areas. And you can actually see how beautifully and subtly you can take the really bold colours like the black and the cerise pink and make them into a delicate wash. If you want them to be brighter and bolder, just use less isopropyl alcohol. Let me know down below if you give these a go. And please take a look at my other videos, and don't forget to subscribe and give me a big thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you again next week.